Good morning, everybody. As we go to the Chitas of today, holding in the second reading of Parshas Vayakhel, which is on chapter 35, verse number 21. Vayavoyu, kol ish asher nasa libe, and every man whose heart was uplifted, he came. Chol asher nedad v'lirucha, and every whose spirit was of giving came. Vayivias etrumas havaya, and they brought the gift of God. To the work of the Elmeid, and to all its work, and for the holy garments. Verse number 22, and the men came with the women, all those that were generous of heart, they brought with their bracelets, v'nezem, and earrings with tabas, and rings, v'chamoz, and buckles, v'chol and all the gold, and everyone who gave a waving to the Lord of gold, zav lavaya. Now she says, the jewelry was still on the women. The men came with the women and stood near them. They brought a one on the other. That the women actually brought more than the men. That this is a golden ornament placed in the arm. This was some kind of an ornament they placed in front of the private parts. Rabbis explain chumuz is a kan makim zima, it's a place of lewdness. And any man who had with him any kind of blue and purple shani and linen and sheish and anyone who had ram skin dyed red or tchashin skin brought heviu, they brought that too. Now she says those who had blue wool, purple wool, or crimson wool, or ram skins or tchashim skins, whatever they had, they brought. Verse 24, call made him to rumas kesev and a everyone who brought aside, who set aside an offering for silver, from copper, a view, they brought it. As Trumas Savai, the offering of God, whoever had the kesha wood, whatever they found, whatever was needed for the work, a view, they brought. Verse 25, and every wise-hearted woman who be able to spin with their hands, and they brought the spun materials. The blue, the purple, the crimson wool, and the linen. All the women, whose heart was uplifted, with them, with the wisdom. They spun the goat hair. Now she said this was a constant superior quality of skill to be able to spin, to be able to spin the hair while it's still on the goat. Verse 27, and the princes brought the stones, the shoham stones. They brought also the stones of filling, for the ephod and for the choshen that the Kohen God of war. Why does it say of it separately? That the Nevi'im, what the Nesiim, the leaders brought. So now she says, Amar Abnasan says, what prompted the Nesiim, the princes? What did the princes see to donate to the dedication of the altar first? Later on, when it came to the dedication of the Beis Hamikdash, the Nesiim jumped and said, we're going to dedicate every day something before the rest of the Jews. While over here, it seems like the rest of the Jews donated, and then at the end, the Nesiim, the heads of the tribes, woke up. Because they said, let the community donate what they donate, and whatever is missing, they'll donate. What happened was, the community donated more than was needed. So the community completed everything. And they said, and the work was sufficient. The princess said, what are we going to do? So they brought the shoham stones. Therefore, they brought the donation first, the dedication of the altar. Therefore, they woke up and they learned their lesson that when it came to dedicating to the Beis Hamikdash, everybody should run to give to the Beis Hamikdash, whether those that are simple, whether those that have the leaders, they should all run to do the avodah. Therefore, Rashi says, since they first were lazy and they didn't immediately donate, a letter is missing in the word Nesiim. There's missing a yud. Nesiim, we're missing the letter yud. From and therefore and because to show that they are missing, something was missing by them, that they were lazy, they decided let the other people do it first. Verse 28, Vesabeshim, and then the spices, Vesashemen, and the oil, Lamur to light, Lashem and Amishcham for the oil for anointing, Ulukteres Asamim, and for the incense. And every man and woman whose heart inspired them to be generously to bring for all the work that the Lord had commanded to make. The Yad Moshe, through Moshe Rabbeinu, Heviu Bnei Yisrael, the Jewish people, brought the Dov al Hashem, a gift to God. That completes the Chumash for today. We continue chapter 32 of Tanya. And Alter Rebbe says, in continuation of the previous chapter, that a person has to have a broken heart. He has to be shofel. He has to be shofel before all people. Alter Rebbe says there's another great accomplishment that happens when a person puts his body as low. He makes his body irrelevant, his physicality irrelevant in comparison to somebody else. But over here, the Alter Rebbe says another positive thing, and that is to make your body secondary to your soul. To have no gaiva to your own soul, not only to have no gaiva to somebody else, but to have no gaiva to your own soul. And the Alter Rebbe said, because this is going to bring a great quality of Avas Yisrael. Since his body shofel is nimas, is the Alter Rebbe uses extreme hard lashonis. Nimas is despised and loathsome. He will not have love of himself on account of his body. So we also have to be bottle. We have to have less ego to our neshama, to our soul. That we have, that our soul, our body is loathsome in comparison to our neshama. So on account of his body, more than he loves his fellow. As for the soul and the spirit, the difference between his own soul and that of his fellows surely is not diminished by the love between them. For who can know the soul spirit's greatness and the excellence in the source and root of the love of living God? This neshama has a chelik alakam. It's ain't safe. How then can one complain superior of his fellows? In neshama, in our neshamas, one neshama can be unbelievable. How do you know the other person's soul? So if you look at the other person's body, then the problem is we're looking bodies. Maybe my physicality is better than his physicality. But if we're looking at souls, who knows the levels of souls? Who knows the greatness of one's souls? Shagam Shakula Masima is furthermore, they are actually all equal. And not only equal yet separate, but furthermore, where they all have one father. What does it mean we have one father? When we say we have one father, Av Echel Lekolano Avinu, what does that mean? Is one father means one source. We have one source, but and within their source, they're all composed of one entity. So we have one source. That's why we call ourselves Barcheinu Avinu, Kolana Ka'echad. David should bless us, our Father, because He is the source of all souls. So in essence, we have one soul. We come from one Father. That's why we are truly brothers and sisters. Because on account of the common root in the one God, that all of Israel is called brothers. Mamish. Really. Not this time of figuratively thought a statement, we're brothers, a nice statement. No, that's the truth. We're truly brothers because we basically have one source. If we come out of one source, then we are brothers and sisters. Because the source of our soul, which comes out from God, rooted in one God, that is of all of Israel, it's called brothers in the full sense of the word. It's not figuratively, it's a sense of relatives or similar appearance and the like. And the problem is that our bodies are separate. And we come from different families because our bodies are separate. So this explains how it's possible how it is all possible to demand that one love his fellow as he loves himself. Because self-love is innate, natural to man. Love for one's fellow is not. How can he generate love? How can a generated love match natural love? According to the principle stated here, this is readily understood because loving yourself is loving somebody else is loving yourself. One do not need to create love for another. The love is the inborn characteristic of his soul on the count of the rooting godliness, which is common to all souls. So you feel automatically a love to your sibling because you're one entity. You're one family. It's a natural thing that you love your family. It's a natural thing. We are one family. In which way? We come from different families physically. We're one family in the root of our neshama. We have one Father in heaven, which is the root and the source of all souls. So in that aspect, we are one family. And therefore, anyone who makes his body more important, primary, and his soul secondary, if somebody makes his body primary and his soul secondary, it's impossible to do Avas Yisrael. It's impossible. You can't have true Avas Yisrael if you feel two separate concepts. You cannot bring together two things together. Just like a family, the only reason why a family love each other is because they feel united in being. And they can be separate families and they can be separate, living in separate areas, but nevertheless we feel united as one. And we pick up a conversation from what we have spoken together many years ago, even though we come together as one. Because we're family, not because we live together, not because we even like each other, but we are family. You cannot love another Jew if you don't feel your family. And not your family in a figurative and nice slogan, but you are his family. Every one of us are family because we have one source. What makes a family? A source. We all come out of one parent, or one parent can have 10 kids. There's still one family. The Eibishter had millions and millions of kids. We are one family and soul. And it's impossible to accomplish that unless we have the capability of gufim tefela v'nasham ikar, that the body is secondary and the primary is the soul. It's not possible. The Alter Rebbe say it's impossible to do this mitzvah if your body is primary. If a person's body is primary, then the only way he can have Avas Yisrael is only if it is external factors. I like you because you do this, you smile, you're a nice person, you gave me something, etc., etc. You're wonderful people. Or I feel pain for you, you're in tzadis. All tluya b'dava. So we have a love that's all external factors. It's based on something. It's not based on essence. It's based on something. So since the body is separate, since the body separates us from each other, where the soul is that binds us together, the greater value one places on his body at the expense of his soul, the more conscious he is of the differences between him and his fellow. These differences require that he create a love for his fellow. And as said above, a created love can never equal a natural innate love. Therefore, love between people who consider their bodies a primary important must be only a love based on some external factor, in which the case the love is a limited to the importance of the motivating factor, and that's the way it is. That depends how much you are connected to me, how much you give me, how much I need you, is the amount of love that we have. And number two, destined to endure only as long as the factor is valid. I don't need you anymore, or you are now going against me. I don't love you anymore. And that's a love, what the Mishnah says. Ava hatluya b'dava. Mishnah Pirkei Avos. Ava, what is connected to an outer factor, batal dava, batal ava. The thing breaks, ava is gone. Ava she'ena tluya b'dava. If you have a love that's not connected to an outer factor, but it's connected to who the essence who you are, then there's nothing that can break this ava. If we have a love for each other for soul, not for the sake of body, not what you give me, but ava schinam, an unconditional love, because that's the way we are. I cannot have. How can I not love my family? It's not possible. It's impossible. So I have a ava she'ena tluya b'dava. It's a natural love. A Jew has to create a natural love, which he has. We have avas Hashem. That's why avas Hashem and ava to another Jew are both natural to a Yid. That he doesn't have avas Hashem, love of God. That he doesn't have love of another Jew is a fake. Is not your natural self. Because your natural innate aspect is your ava. Your lack of love of another person or another Jew or a love of God, that is your clipper. That's your covering. That's who you're not. If a Jew just reveals his essence, he just connects to his essence, that's primary. My neshama is primary. Then I have a natural love to every Jew. I love every Jew, not because of what he is, not because of what he does, because who he is. Not because of what he does. It has nothing to do what he does or he doesn't do. It's who he is. He has another Yid. He's another neshama. It's impossible not to love another neshama. It's impossible for one neshama not to love another neshama. It's impossible for the neshama not to love the Eibishter. Same thing. It's impossible for one neshama not to love the Eibishter. It's impossible. Because that's its natural instinct, that he loves God. So it's impossible for the neshama. That's what the Alter Rebbe would say. A Yid nishta ken, nishta vil. A Jew cannot not love God. It's not possible. And that he says he says he struggles with God, that's an outer experience. That's something that's not him. So he has outer struggles. And his body, if he makes his body an ikr, if he makes his body the primary, he might have a lot of struggles. He has a lot of struggles with God. He has struggles with others. I need to make my soul primary. And that's why the Alter Rebbe says there are times in life that a person has to put his body to the right place. Not to diminish the body, but put it in the body in the right perspective and in priority. My body is important, but it's priority. It's where he's in secondary in comparison to the soul. My soul is primary. And my body is secondary. And the truth is, then the body will become an important thing because self-understood, the primary cannot accomplish its mission without the body. That's the truth. The primary cannot accomplish its mission without the body. So therefore, the body will make sure to be in full shape and healthy and well, because he realizes that his purpose is for the sake of the primary, the neshama, that's going to work through this body. Because ultimately, Avas Yisrael comes through my body. and my body to another person's body, and I'm there for him. Begashmius or beruchnius, whether it's physically or spiritually, I'm there for that other Jew. But I'm there for him not because what I'm going to gain from him or what I'm not going to gain from him. I'm not there for the thank you. I'm not there for him for he's going to give me back something. I'm there for him because he's another Yid. He's another neshama, and it's impossible for me not to be there for another neshama. That's why it says, you shall love your neighbor as you love yourself. The question is, how do you love yourself? Why do you love yourself? If you love yourself because of who you are physically, then you're not going to have Avas Yisrael. You're not going to have true Avas Yisrael. You'll have Avas Yisrael, but it'll be an Ava that is a very a Tluya B'dava, an Ava that has external reasons. So if you love yourself because of your neshama, you love yourself because of your soul, your primary. That is why you love yourself. The Eibishter gave me a neshama, and that's really why I love who I am, because the neshama that the Eibishter gave me. That's why I love myself. I don't wake up in the morning. I say thank you that I have a body. I thank my soul. I thank that I have a neshama. That's the primary. Then I love every Jew because every Jew has a neshama like me. What a beautiful teaching. This whole Lamed Beis, as it's brought down, the Lamed Beis, the 32nd chapter is the heart of Tanya. It's really the essence of Tanya, the beauty of Tanya, the beauty of the soul over the body, the beauty which creates the whole concept of the beauty of Avas Soul, Avas HaMokim, and Avas HaMitzvahs, all interconnected in this chapter of Tanya. Today is the 24th day of the month, with his Tehillim. It's chapter 113 to chapter 118. If you do those 6 chapters, you would do the Chitas of the day. I wish you all a wonderful day, a beautiful day. God bless you all, and May Shem will see you all tomorrow at 8:00. We'll continue the Chitas of the day.